The Book of Monelle by Marcel Schwob. And I'm going to go with the tagline, the most influential book that Americans have never heard of. Because if you do a search on YouTube of this, you'll come up with Clifford Sargent, Better Than Food, book reviews, who turned me on to this book last year. I bought this at Powell's bookstore November 1, 2018, and I have been enamored with this book. It's been my traveling book. It's a big, hard book. Look how thick it is. Yet, it is something to behold and treasure. Glad to turn you on to it. I'm going to leave a link, some links below to some articles. A really good one from the Paris Review called The Book of Monelle, a groundbreaking work of decadence, an assemblage of fairy tales, nihilistic philosophy, and aphorisms tightly woven into a tapestry of deep emotional suffering. It becomes the unofficial Bible of the French symbolist movement. It's a turn-of-the-century book, and the translator, Kit Schluter, did a great job, and the Paris Review is an interview with him. He's an American New Yorker. And so let me give you a little background. Marcel Schwob was a child prodigy, very precocious genius. He came to languages early, like Joyce, when he was like 3 to 5 years old, and he translated some Mark Twain, Leaves of Grass, some other things. He was acquaintances with Oscar Wilde, dedicated his poem, the long poem, The Sphinx, to Schwob. Lester Crowley, who I know a lot about. You don't know me, but I know Crowley. Read all his books, and he knew Marcel in Paris, Gay Paris. Schwob was not homosexual. He might have been a drinker and drug user. Marcel got interested in the underbelly of Paris life, the crime and prostitutes and that. And he met a woman named Louise and fell in love with her. They were both young. The first part, the words of Monelle, is like Nietzsche's Zarathustra, with the aphorisms, and you read from it. And Monelle said again, I shall speak to you of young prostitutes, and you shall know the beginning. Bonaparte, the killer, at 18 years of age, met a young prostitute by the iron gates of the Palais Royal. For you see, these young prostitutes leave the crowd of the night but once for an act of kindness. Poor Anne ran to Thomas de Quincey, the opium eater, as he swooned beneath the great gaslights of Oxford Street. Now I'm just going to jump around. Little Nellie approached the convict, Dostoevsky, outside his infamous home, and dying of a fever, watched him for a long time with her big, trembling black eyes. Little Sonia, she existed like all the others, kissed Rodin, the murderer, after the confessions of his crime. None of them, you see, can stay with you. They teach you the lesson they have to teach you, and then they go. These are creatures of the flesh. They came out of a solemn impasse to offer a kiss of pity beneath the gaslights of the main street. In that moment, they were divine. You must forgive everything else. And Monelle said again, Even so I shall return to the night, for it is necessary that you lose me before you find me again. And if you find me again, I shall elude you once more, for I am she who is alone. And Monelle handed me a hollow stalk of fennel, inside of which burned a pink filament. Take this torch, she said, and burn. Burn everything on this earth and in the sky. Destroy, destroy, destroy. Destroy within yourself. Destroy what surrounds you. Make space for your soul and for all other souls. Destroy all good and all evil. The ruins are the same. Destroy the old buildings of man and the old dwellings of the soul. What is dead is a distorted mirror. Destroy all, for all creation comes from destruction. I've cross-referenced, jumped to page 71. Part 3, Monelle, the first one, Of Her Embrace. What are you selling, little vendor? These are more fairy tale stories in part 3. What are you selling, little vendor, this sad rainy season? Lamps, she replied, only burning lamps. And in truth, I asked her, what are these burning lamps, as big as your little finger, with flames the size of a pinhead? They light the shadows of this season, she said. They were once meant for dolls, but children no longer want to grow up. That's why I sell these little lamps that barely brighten the dark rain. Nobody can light them again, for they fear they won't be able to foresee the moment when they shall start to grow up. That's why they run away, whimpering into the night. But I'm only allowed to sell one lamp to each child. If they come to buy a second, the flame dies in their hands. I saw the feather rise up from Cordelia's lips, and she was smiling and convalescing, and she was living in an enormous cage like a bird with her old father, and she kissed his white beard. I saw Ophelia playing on the glassy surface of the pond, and wrapping her wet arms garlanded with violets around Hamlet's neck. I saw Desdemona, awoken, wandering beneath the willow trees. I saw the Princess Milani take two hands off the eyes of the old king and laugh and dance. I'm off on I didn't plan to go there, but you can see that the Hamlet, or not, yeah, Hamlet references Shakespeare. He, Schwob, before this book, I mentioned he was a scholar in that, but he would take old, kind of like William S. Burroughs' cut-up method. He would use old works and recycle them, almost plagiarize them from the Bible, fairy tales. Let me read some more. So we have that little flame candle reference and the this world of all children that runs throughout. There's also, it's a very violent book, which I don't know, I seem to like that, I guess. I like Cormac McCarthy. What else? I loved Black Leopard, Red Wolf. I love, violence doesn't, fictional violence does not bother me. Okay, let's see. The Numb. This is from it's got to be part 3, I assume. Page 59. Princess Morgan had read the storybooks. This is not the beginning. Princess Morgan had read the storybooks. The story of Snow White, White's talking mirror that foretold the slitting of her throat, and the tale of Icy's mirror from which emerged a second Icy, who killed Icy, and the adventure of the mirror of the city of Melduis that led to the Malaysian woman to hang themselves by the rising of the moon. The priests of her country were geomancers and the fire worshippers. They arranged sand in square boxes and traced lines in it. They performed calculations by means of their parchment talismans and made black mirrors with mixtures of water and smoke. And in the evening, Morgan came before them and threw 3 meal offerings into the fire. "Behold," said the geomancer, and he showed her the liquid black mirror. Morgan looked. At first a bright vapor lingered on the surface, and then a colored circle seethed, and an image rose up and ran gently out of the smoke. And the following day, Morgan wanted to set out on the expedition. The dismal hue of the sand had seemed familiar to her, and so she left for the west. Her father gave her a choice caravan with silver-belled mules, and she was carried by a palanquin, the walls of which were made of precious mirrors. Palanquins, like, imagine Cleopatra, they're walking her on, carrying her. This is from the end of section 2. The story I'm reading. Blah, 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 blah. No one knows what Princess Morgan saw in the mirror of blood, but along the route back, her muleteers were found murdered one by one, night after night, their gray faces turned to the heavens after they had joined her in the palanquin. And this princess came to be known as Morgan the Red, and her reputation as a prostitute and a terrifying throat slitter of men preceded her. And Monelle said again, "I shall speak to you of moments. Look upon all things with regard to the moment. Leave yourself to the whim of the moment. Think in the moment. All thought that lasts is a contradiction. Love the moment. All love that lasts is hatred. Be sincere with the moment. All sincerity that lasts is falsehood. Be just toward the moment. All justice that lasts is injustice. Act toward the moment. All action that lasts is a dead rain. Be happy with the moment. All happiness that lasts is misery. Respect all moments. All moments. Respect all moments, and draw no connections between things. Postpone the moment not. You would fatigue the throes of death. Look, each moment is a candle and a casket. May all life and all death seem strange and new to you." So yes, the Book of Monelle by Marcel Schwob. I really adored this book. I got a lot out of it. I made a lot of notes, and like I said, it was my traveling companion. It fit well in my back pocket, I read off my phone too. Look, I'm going to be reading this added to the month, and I'm going to give this book justice. It deserves I studied it very much and got a lot out of this book. Also, I've been trying to read this book for 6 months or so. I'm coming late to the game as usual, so I'm going to retire Marcel to the shelf. Alas, with fond memories of this big hard book. Yeah. Thanks again to Clifford Sargent at Better Than Food Book Reviews. Link below. Now I have a parade to go to, and next week is not Pride Day, it's Portland Pride Week, and the Parade Wednesday is off the chain here. It passes right around in front of my building down Broadway, and I'll videotape it. You'll see it's a battle of everything. From Nike, and then Intel comes in, I think Boeing, they try to top each other. You won't be able to hear me. I'll be talking and you won't be able to hear it. So until then, hey man, peace.